I just reviewed the 2024 Cadillac Lyriq and found it to be a commendable all-electric luxury SUV, though it had one issue that left me a little hot under the collar. We reached out to GM, and we have their answers plus your feedback to this sweltering setback. Here's the story. Now, before we tackle the problem I experienced, a little background info first. I really enjoyed my time with the Lyriq. I think this EV looks great, its interior is appropriately luxurious, and the ride is buttery smooth. Beyond that, this Cadillac nails the EV fundamentals. The range is stellar, this SUV DC fast charges quickly, and the performance, even with just rear-wheel drive, is very strong. But the most glaring issue I had with our test Lyriq was actually the air conditioning performance. It absolutely struggled to cool the cabin. During testing, it was right around 90 degrees Fahrenheit and quite humid. That's certainly toasty, but it's not Death Valley hot. It's not Basra, Iraq in August hot. The vehicle should not have had an issue. And in case you think this was user error, I can be pretty dumb sometimes. But to cool the cabin, I had the HVAC temp set all the way to low. It was synced across both sides of the dual zone system. Recirculation was turned on. The ventilated seat was cranked all the way up. And the sunshade was closed, both because I hate glare and to reduce solar load. The Lyriq should have been frosting up the windows, spitting ice cubes out of the vents in about 15 minutes. But it took an hour or more before I was truly comfortable, which was pretty shocking. Now, as Al MX5DP pointed out in a comment, surprised to hear the poor AC performance. I kind of feel GM is usually tops when it comes to that with their ICE vehicles, and I totally agree. I don't remember if I've really ever had any complaints about GM's climate control systems. Now, the good news for Cadillac is plenty of you guys out there disagreed with my assessment of the Lyriq's air conditioning performance. Rima Law 77, for instance, wrote, I test drove one in mid-July at 98 degrees in Florida, and I actually had to ask Google to make it warmer. Not sure what he is talking about. Koi Kai echoed this comment as well. I have had the same experience. Coolest AC ever. Oron Ed Gevic 7739 noted, I have one and the AC is fine. And honestly, I'm glad to hear that. Wayne Brissett 9459 wrote, the AC on my Lyriq works fine in the Texas heat, and we all know it gets toasty down in the Lone Star State. This person then mentions issues with the glove box and wireless charger, as well as some software glitches, but you get the idea. Many Lyriq owners are happy with their vehicle's air conditioning performance, but not all. A few of you guys out there were in agreement with my assessment. Craig S34 noted that they tested a Lyriq in the high desert of California in 110-degree heat and said, I'm with you on the AC. People on here say it's fine, but no. This person then goes on to say the back of their shirt was still wet after a test drive and sitting in a parking lot for 20 minutes, I'm assuming with the vehicle still on and AC running. Desert Modern 7638 said, finally, a car reviewer who mentions how bad the air conditioning is. I absolutely adore the Lyriq, but the AC never quite catches up on really hot days. Beyond all that, I also saw a couple similar comments on Reddit, but not very many. The air conditioning is the worst, said one user, and another lamented, I do have a major issue with the air conditioner, from not blowing hard enough to not cooling enough. And the vents? Who the heck designed them? Based on these comments and others, it sounds like some Lyriqs may have HVAC issues, something that was actually acknowledged by GM. In an official response, a Cadillac spokesperson told us, we're aware of instances where Lyriq's AC performance did not meet the expectations of our customers. They take feedback seriously and are always working to improve their vehicles. Accordingly, additional improvements are planned for the 2025 Lyriq. And of course, this includes boosting the maximum blower fan speed, using a less restrictive cabin air filter, and updating the HVAC outlets. Small but probably impactful changes. Now, one other YouTube commenter asked a fairly obvious question about my Lyriq review. CS Corona 1 said, are you guys sure you didn't get a vehicle with an AC issue? Your experience with the AC is not mine. Well, the short answer is no, I do not know if our vehicle had an issue, but it might have. After doing a little digging, I found a GM service update that's applicable to the Lyriq's climate control system. This notice was released last October, and it explains that some Lyriqs were shipped with twisted air conditioning hoses, which I imagine could impact cooling performance. Now, the good news is this should apply to fewer than 400 vehicles from the 2023 and 24 model years, though again, I am not sure if this applies to the example we had. So overall, many owners are more than satisfied with the performance of their Lyriq's air conditioning, but others, like me, have noticed some problems. It sounds like GM is aware that there might be a few issues and is working to correct them. In the meantime, if your Lyriq doesn't seem like it's cooling quite right, try keeping the roof shade closed to reduce cabin heating in the sun, lower the interior temperature, set the HVAC system to recirculate for quicker cooling, and don't be afraid to use the ventilated seats if you've got them. All things, as I mentioned, I did, so as always, your mileage may vary. Now, one more thing to try, however, utilize that preconditioning function. When plugged in, your Lyriq should not drain the battery to cool down the cabin, drawing power from the EVSE instead. Also, consider purchasing a windshield sunscreen to block more light from the cabin. They can make a big difference. We have links to a few highly recommended offerings in the description box below, so make sure to check those out. And finally, if all that fails to keep you cool and comfortable, don't be afraid to get your Lyriq checked out by a dealer. It may have twisted hoses or other HVAC issues. But next up, if you haven't already, check out my full review of the 2024 Cadillac Lyriq by clicking right over here. Learn much more about this all-electric luxury SUV's many strengths and minor weaknesses.